Edit. Luna and I have been going to therapy together, and I learned of the medication she was taking and a lot of other information that hurt my heart. She's on her honeymoon right now and will be back on Saturday. I was thinking about writing another update about the wedding. It was semi-drama-free. I've been at peace since having her back, and Roberto noticed how better she is as well. I also found out this week that I'm going to be a dad again, and it feels great. I also find it funny of the people in the DM telling me that Jocelyn and Luna are only after me for my money. When it comes to Jocelyn, her family owns a bison ranch as well as several other businesses. She doesn't need my money. Luna, right now she tells me that she just wants me to be her father. Marisol is not well. She was admitted into a psychiatric hospital for trying to hurt herself. Her father, God bless him, was at the wedding, and we mended bridges. Like I said, I might need to write another update. Update 4. First, I would like to thank everyone for the positive feedback and support in the comments and DMs. Also, apologies for the delay in the update. I waited for Luna to come back from her honeymoon so I can show her this post. Our therapist wanted us to have full transparency when it comes to this situation. I wanted to make sure for me to share any more information since this is also about her. She read the post, but I refused to let her see any of the hateful comments, considering how much she was crying from the post. Yet she had no issues with me posting an update. Then a tragedy happened with the passing of my grandmother, and I had to place it on hold. So let's begin with where I left off. Jocelyn and I managed to get a double wide on our property and had everything ready for Luna and Roberto. Many people wondered why Jocelyn kept pushing to make peace in the beginning. Jocelyn didn't want my lingering anger to affect our family and wanted me to make peace with myself for our family's sake. I am grateful for that. As I mentioned before, Marisol was constantly calling me, and the day Luna left New York, I spoke to her. She was crying and angry with me, telling me that I took her child and grandchild from her. I tried to explain to her that I want to rebuild my relationship with Luna, and almost immediately she began asking me about rebuilding my relationship with her. I had to tell her that I couldn't, which caused her to cry, and she hung up on me. Luna and Roberto loved the trailer, and the first thing Roberto did was starting the process to repay me. I told him that it wasn't needed, but he insisted, and I appreciated it. A few days later, Luna and I had our first therapy session, and I learned of all of the anxiety medication she was taking, and I learned that she suffered from chronic panic attacks. One thing I can share about our sessions is that Luna is very remorseful, and she suffered from years of verbal abuse from Marisol. There was things that shocked me. Some things that I found to be unbelievable, but was confirmed when I spoke to my former father-in-law. Marisol verbally and emotionally abused her. My cousin mentally destroyed her, and despite what my feelings were and the actions I took, I know I hurt her too. 2 weeks after they arrived, Roberto received news that he was being deployed sooner, so they had to move their wedding up. At first, Luna wanted to wait for him to come home, but Roberto insisted. He wanted them to be married before he left. Jocelyn and I offered to help pay for the wedding, but Luna told me she only wanted me to walk her down the aisle and give her away.
I know people kept telling me to get a DNA test because there wasn't one from the court due to the circumstantial evidence that was provided. Allow me to tell you, there's no need for that. Luna is O positive, I am AB negative, Marisol is B positive, and my cousin is O positive. However, despite what happened, Luna is my daughter. I only wished I wasn't blinded with rage. Anyway, the wedding had to be small since it was being done on my in-laws' ranch. My former father-in-law, Roberto's mother, Marisol, and my grandmother was invited. Only 2 RSVP. My grandmother couldn't come because she wasn't feeling well, and Marisol was admitted in a hospital for trying to hurt herself. Luna didn't take the news well, and I was angry at Marisol because she expected Luna to come back to New York to help take care of her. On the weeks leading to the wedding, I learned I was going to be a father again, and I was ecstatic. Roberto learned the hard way about breaking a horse, and I began teaching him how to fix cars. Again, I like this kid. The day before the wedding, my former father-in-law arrived with Roberto's mother. His mother is a very kind person, and I commended her for raising a fine young man. My former father-in-law was stoic as always, but we spoke. He told me that he was disappointed that I left, but given the circumstances, he understood. He only wished that his daughter would move on as well. On the day of the wedding, Jocelyn was Luna's maid of honor, and I tried my best not to cry as I walked her down, but it was difficult. It was even more difficult for her. During the reception, we played the Quince song again for our father-daughter dance, and again, she just held on to me. For those who wanted to know the song, it's Cinderella by Stephen Curtis Chapman. During their honeymoon, things were getting back to normal, and I was planning to write an update, but a few before they came home, my grandmother passed. This hurt me because she wasn't just my grandmother but my mother. As I mentioned, I never knew my parents. Both my mother and father passed away alongside my cousin's parents when I was a few months old from a car accident, and she raised us together. So while preparing to go to New York for the funeral, I was trying to control myself and prepare to see my cousin. We went as a family to New York. My grandmother was laid to rest in Cypress Hill Cemetery. Yet during the funeral, with my wife, daughter, and son-in-law beside me, I wasn't angry. I didn't bother acknowledge my cousin during the funeral. And as we left, my cousin kept trying to talk to me, practically begging for me to yell at him, to hit him, and for some reason, me ignoring him just hurt him even more. A few days before we went back to Idaho, Luna and I visited Marisol at Bellevue. She was excited to see us, sad that she missed the wedding, and we thought everything was fine until we had to leave. She began to cry, telling the orderly that she wanted to go home with her husband, begging me to take her home, that I was the love of her life and to please just take her home. And I just cried as they took her away. Luna broke down as well, and it took a while before either of us had the strength to leave the visitors' lounge. My former father-in-law told us that Marisol was never the same after the divorce. She still celebrated my birthday and our anniversary, and he would argue with her to move forward, but she never did. He said she isolated herself and was verbally abusive towards Luna for a long time. Luna's pregnancy just took her out of the trance. He said that the 13 months of being nice to our daughter doesn't take away from the 4 years of neglect and abuse she has done to her. He hopes the hospital will help her. Jocelyn told me that I will have to forgive her so she could forgive herself. Right now, as I'm typing, things are okay. Jocelyn and I are as thick as thieves. Roberto left for Saudi Arabia last week, and Luna is trying to appear strong with him gone. But she's doing it poorly. She has been clinging on to me and Jocelyn. I thought Jocelyn might be bothered, but she has been loving spending time with her. She is indeed a wonderful woman. She has been taking Luna all across town, introducing her as her daughter. I thought it might bother Luna, but she was very happy about it. I forgave Marisol, and I hope she could find the strength to move on.
1 year update. Before I begin, I would like to thank all of you, even the haters and the doubters. When I posted a year ago, I was in a dark place. I was always angry, lost, depressed. The people here really helped me, and the gratitude that I have for all of you will be with me until the day I die. This community helped me get my daughter back. All of you helped me get my life back. The past year has been great, but not without its ups and downs. I have another son, and Jocelyn wants to try for another one. I'm going to have another grandchild. My son-in-law has applied for officer training school. I'm hoping he gets in. My daughter has been getting a little better since the therapist started her in prolonged exposure. For a while, her panic attacks went from mild to severe, and thanks to Werewolf IL84 for suggesting exposure therapy because it has been a blessing. Our therapy sessions together were hard in the beginning. Listening to everything she went through, she owned up to her mistakes, and I owned up to mine. My in-laws have her working on the ranch, nothing fancy, feeding horses, putting out hay, and my MIL has been teaching her on herding bison. It makes me smile when I see her on a horse, her face lights up. She and Jocelyn act like mother and daughter, and seeing how Jocelyn is overprotective of her is adorable. I'm blessed to marry such a wonderful woman. When I met her, she had just come out of a very abusive relationship. She had a swollen eye and bruises around her throat, and I volunteered to fix her father's 3 tractors for free since they were damaged due to her ex pouring salt and sugar in the tanks. At first, I mind my business, but as she brought me food, we talked and got to know one another, and a month later, we had our first kiss. It was great. Took her out to dinner, and a few days later, her ex came to see me and tried to scare me. I put the fear of God into him. Sorry, went off topic there. In the first week of May, my ex-father-in-law passed away, and I was afraid that Luna would relapse, but she was strong, thanks to Roberto being there for her. That man had a strong impact on her life, and the level of gratitude that I owe him will never be repaid. We all flew to New York, and he had his viewing like a true Boricua. He had a live salsa band, an open bar, and a buffet with pateles, pernil, sancocho. All of his favorite foods was there for all to chow down. Do not mourn me, celebrate me. That was the banner over his casket that was draped with the Puerto Rican flag, and he was wearing his vanilla ice cream suit. I couldn't help but smile the entire time. Marisol was there, but she was just staring into nothing. It was like her brain shut off, only to turn back on when Luna or I sat next to her, and she began talking about preparing for the quince. After a while, she realized where she is, and her brain shuts off again. Her therapist told us during the second day of the viewing that her mind is stuck in a moment she was at her happiest. When Luna walked away, the therapist told me that, in her professional opinion, she believed my cousin may have raped Marisol, and her mind protected her from that trauma, rationalized it, and made her believe it was a moment of weakness. That messed me up, and I told Jocelyn what the therapist said, and she was shocked. She insisted that I should tell Luna, but I was afraid to. She made so many steps to get better, I didn't want her to revert back. Instead, we told Roberto first, who wanted to go and find my cousin, but I talked him down, and then we sat as a family and spoke to Luna. It was a bad night. A really bad night. We had an incident at the burial 2 days later. My cousin showed up uninvited and caused a scene. He was drunk, and I wanted to end him, I believe is the proper term. Instead, I told him to leave. Roberto was holding me back, and my cousin began shouting that he was always better than me and always will be. And it was because of him and his daughter that I made my life better, so in a way he's responsible for me bettering myself. I got angry, and I practically lifted Roberto off the ground to get him, but Luna punched him in the mouth and began pummeling him. She was screaming and crying. She was so angry while attacking him. I briefly hesitated, and Roberto pulled her off of him. As he was getting up, Jocelyn punched him and knocked him out, breaking her index finger in the process. Before we went back home, we had a family meeting, and we all agreed that we will transfer Marisol into a mental facility near us, since she has no one else. We are still going to therapy, and with this new realization, my daughter is trying to cope with the fact that she might be a product of rape. Before this happened, I was planning to adopt her. Since legally she's no longer my daughter, I want to make it official again, but I feel like the timing might not be right. I will answer any questions. I owe this community a lot, and God bless you all.
Comments by OP. The therapist stated that the way she described that night was a clear indication that he forced himself onto her. Since transferring her, the new therapist agrees with the accusation. From how it was explained to us, my cousin came in to pray with her, confessed his feelings, and forced himself on her. She's still in and out. Saw her a few times already, and every time it's about the quince and how her life is perfect. It hurts and angers me that one man could ruin so many lives. Comment 2. Last Tuesday, I sat through a hypnotherapy session and listened to what happened that night. She was raped, there's no doubt about it. She kept it a secret in fear that I would kill him and get locked up, so she lied to herself, and she believed that lie. When my cousin decided to become a pastor shortly after I got out of prison, she saw it as him trying to redeem himself. She believed her lie. It made me cry because I destroyed everything, and she was suffering this entire time. Jocelyn told me it's okay to feel guilty, but it feels worse than that. To be honest, if Marisol told me that my cousin raped her after I got out of prison, I will be doing a life sentence. If she would have told me the truth when I discovered that Luna wasn't biologically mine, I would have called her a liar at first. I would have still called her every name in the book. However, I would have eventually listened.
However, with my cousin, I do not know what I would have done to him. Punching him with all my strength every time I saw him was a way to let him know how much he hurt me. But this, I don't know how deep into the rabbit hole I would have gone. There's a lot of would-haves. Everything looks different in hindsight. But I know if she just told me the truth and not told me to get over it and it was a moment of weakness over and over again, I think things might be different. My wife has been getting nervous since I have been dead set on getting my ex better, and I told her that no matter what, I will always be faithful and love her. I just need to help my ex and give her a second chance in life. This made her feel better.
Update. Hello everyone, it's been a while, and I would like to express my gratitude to all of you. My family continues to grow. I have 2 grandchildren, a boy and a girl, 2 sons, and another daughter on the way. For a while, I was guilt-stricken, being a bit depressed after being told what happened in Marisol's hypnotherapy session. From the explanation, she said no twice before freezing up for over a minute, and she begged him to stop, which was when my cousin finished and got off of her. The therapist said she rolled to her side and kept repeating over and over, it was a mistake, and she convinced herself that it was a mistake. That truly impacted me. It caused this cloud of depression to hover over me. I blamed myself, I blamed my cousin. I began playing scenarios in my head, focusing on the could've, would've, should've. And it hit so hard, I told myself that my cousin was right. I did ruin her. I struggled to remember every family interaction to see if there were any signs, anything that would have indicated that he did something to her. And there was. Whenever he was in the house, she was never in the same room with him or alone with him. I never noticed it, but now everything is so vivid. Hindsight is a real bitch. Over the next few months, Luna and I sat in a family therapy session with Marisol. Like many of you, the therapist also asked me what I would have done if she had told me the truth when I got out. Honestly, I would have taken him out. If she would have told me years later, I would have beaten him by an inch of his life. Finally, I was asked if she would have told me during the Qley. I said I wouldn't believe her at first. However, I would have asked, poked, prodded, and eventually found out the truth. The way I was feeling back then, I would have sent my cousin to the hospital, but I wouldn't have skipped town. I believe that things would have been dramatically different. Eventually, Marisol became consolable. She cried and apologized to both of us. As time went on, Marisol confessed that since she couldn't give me another child, she focused on being the best wife and partner she could be. And when I left, she admitted that when she looked at our daughter, all she saw was my cousin. I asked her why she allowed my cousin to still come to our home. She said that in a way, he was my brother. I was always so proud of him, especially when he became a pastor. I spoke very highly of him. I always went to him for advice. And in her mind, she saw him as a mistake, a brief moment of mistake that wouldn't go away. So she avoided him at every turn. Luna's panic attacks came back, a bit more aggressive, but now she's doing well. I officially adopted her last month. It was my birthday gift to her. She couldn't stop crying. She looked so happy. From what I heard, my cousin moved to Puerto Rico after getting fired. The bank had to let him go due to the vast number of people walking into the bank and making a scene. We placed a new trailer next to Luna for Marisol. She was released in mid-March. And at first, it was awkward. Extremely awkward. I used to watch TV shows with scenarios like this, having your ex-wife and current wife near one another. On TV, they're friendly. That's TV. Jocelyn was very civil, but made a clear boundary for Marisol to follow. However, Marisol told us that she doesn't want to stay on our property. She wants to stay near us, but all she wants is to be a mother and grandmother. She wants her and me to be friends, but distant friends, and I could respect that. A few times Jocelyn and Marisol butted heads, mostly on child-rearing and cooking habits. My in-laws, like me, felt awkward about the entire situation, and it's not helping that my brother-in-law is a bit smitten with Marisol, to the point that Jocelyn smacked him in the back of his head so she could knock some sense into him. It didn't work. The man is 2 years older than me, a widower of 2 years with 3 little girls. He's a really nice guy.
a great wrangler, and he's been around my property more than I could care for just so he could try to talk to Marisol. I don't mind, but Jocelyn does. She's very overprotective of her big brother, and she feels that if the two of them do get together, she would not know if it was genuine. I could respect that. There was an incident on Luna's birthday shortly after giving her the adoption papers. I danced with Luna and then with Jocelyn, and when Marisol tried to dance with me, after dancing with Roberto and Jocelyn's brother, I respectfully declined, but it enacted Jocelyn's green-eyed monster, and she became a bit territorial. On Easter, we were watching the kids hunting eggs, and I overheard Marisol tell Jocelyn that she envied her. She was able to give me children. Jocelyn told her that Luna is my daughter. Despite the circumstances, Luna was mine, and she should always remember that. Marisol cried, and it was the first time I saw them getting along. This is where I'm at right now. Hopefully everything balances out.
Update. Why must we always be tested? Healing takes time and patience. Healing takes understanding. It also helps when there's a support system. My wife is my support system. Watching her with my daughter, the way she's there for her, and lately the way she's there for my ex-wife, taking her to the survivor group meeting every week amazes me with how blessed I am. I sat her down and thanked her for everything she has done. I told her how lucky I am to be with her, and she gave me a wide smile before kissing me. She tells me that I saved her as well, reminding me about her very abusive ex and how trapped she was, then telling me her being there for me and my family was the least she could do. We sat watching TV while holding each other, and that was when I got an I am from my cousin. I quickly blocked him. A week later, I get a letter from him, and I burned it. Another week went by, and my wife tells me that her brother is heavily interested in asking her out. I personally do not care, but I told her that Marisol is a grown adult who is healing from a lot of trauma, and if he understands that and is willing to be patient, then I have no issues. A day later, I get another letter from my cousin, and once again, I burned it. Normally, I would complain about how he found me, but I am named after my great-grandfather, whose name is extremely unique, and my last name is not that common, so finding me with a simple Google search wasn't that difficult. In mid-June, we were enjoying a bonfire. I smiled at my daughter and son-in-law slow dancing to no music. My wife had her head resting on my chest, and I noticed my brother-in-law and Marisol kissing, and I smiled. A few days later, my cousin tried to reach out to Luna on Facebook, and she had a panic attack. Roberto blocked him, and later on that day, while we were at the supermarket, my wife's ex came back to town and had the nerve to try to talk to her. I could see the fear in her eyes, and I just reacted. It was a single punch, but I made sure it spoke volume. My wife, my rock, my support, was a quaking mess. The way she was shaking and terrified made me want to pounce on him, but the sheriff intervened and told him to leave before checking on Jocelyn. In the years we've been together, I've never seen her so terrified. While the sheriff was talking to us, I watched her ex walking past the window, and the bastard was smiling at me. The sheriff noticed and grabbed my arm, telling me to take Jocelyn home. During that drive, she was quiet, and when we got home, all she wanted was for me to hold her and don't let go. Luna was extremely concerned, and Jocelyn grabbed her as well and pulled her into the hug. None of us had ever seen her like this, and all I wanted to do was protect her. Later that day, her brother showed up and told us that he and the sheriff paid her ex a visit and told him to leave. That didn't work. That man showed up at my shop the next day, threatening to sue me for assault. I just smiled at him. I told him in the 10 minutes he was running his mouth, I came up with a half-dozen ways to make him disappear. That shut him up. But for the next week and a half, he kept testing me, testing us. That entire time, Jocelyn was constantly afraid, thinking he might do something to her, to me. Her brother is a game warden and warned him to stay away, and the SOB reported him to his supervisor. Every time I wanted to approach him, Jocelyn begged me not to. However, she's my wife, and I needed to protect her, but I told her that I will not approach him. Her father soon told me everything about that man, everything he did to her. I told him that I was surprised that he never got rid of him, and he said around the time he was seriously contemplating it, his kneecaps got broken and he left town.
He was smiling wide at me, and I couldn't help but smile back.
On the 29th, we were preparing for the upcoming Western Idaho Fair when I got another letter from my cousin. This time I left it on my desk. Marisol approached me, asking me if it was okay for her to pursue a relationship with Jocelyn's brother, and I told her it was, but only if she feels that she was ready. She shrugged, telling me that she doesn't know what she wanted, but she does like him and thought about him and his kids a lot. I told her I want her to find happiness, and she began to cry. But they were happy tears, and I was happy for her. My phone rang. It was the sheriff. Jocelyn's ex and another man is in the hospital. His face is practically smashed in, and the other man had 2 broken eye sockets. I was preparing for him to accuse me, but then he told me that he had my son-in-law in holding. The sheriff said there were a lot of witnesses that came in my son-in-law's defense. I didn't want to hear it over the phone, and I raced to his office. When I got there, I saw Luna sitting by the front desk with a nasty bruise on her left cheek. The sheriff came to me and told me that according to all the witnesses, Jocelyn's ex purposely bumped into Roberto as he and Luna left the coffee shop. An argument started, and Roberto tried to de-escalate the situation. Another man appeared and shoved Roberto, and Luna shoved the man and Jocelyn's ex back, prompting Jocelyn's ex to smack Luna and Roberto, placing the 2 men in the hospital. The sheriff is not pressing charges, but he had to inform Roberto's commander. After being released, Roberto had to leave for his 13-hour drive to Yuma immediately. Luna was blaming herself for pushing Jocelyn's ex. Jocelyn is trying to be there for her, but is blaming herself for this entire situation. Marisol is surprisingly there for both of them, and the topping of this shit sandwich came in the other day. A woman who is 6 months pregnant came to my shop. She asked for my name, and when I saw her, she told me that she was my cousin's fiancé, which took me by complete surprise. My cousin has leukemia and has been trying to reach out to me, Luna and Marisol, to make penance. I told her to leave, but she refused. She wanted me and Luna to get tested, to see if we're a match, to donate bone marrow. She burst into tears, telling me that she doesn't want to have a child grow up without a father. I told her that she will be doing her child a favor. She slapped me. She said that my cousin was completely honest with her. She knows everything that he has done, but she wants him to be in their child's life. And again, begged me to get tested. I could pretty much guarantee I'll be a fucking match because that's my fucking luck. When I went back to my office, I opened up my cousin's letter. I was expecting to read a plea for mercy, for me to save his life.
Instead, it was a letter confessing everything he has done. How, while growing up, he looked up to me, loved me, but when I began rebelling and joined the Latin Kings, he hated me for the pain I placed our grandmother in. I took everything for granted, and even though I always had his back and scolded him to make sure he stayed in school, he saw me as a hypocrite because I never took my own advice. Me taking Marisol away was the straw that broke the camel's back. He didn't expect me to actually try to make my life better. When I got stabbed and arrested, he saw that as divine intervention and admitted, despite her telling him no, he had to have her. He placed in the letter that because of him, the woman he loved was broken. He ruined his daughter and destroyed the only man who loved him unconditionally. He also placed in the letter that if his fiancée ever comes to see me, telling me that he was sick, it's true, he is sick, but he doesn't want me or Luna to get tested. This is the path he chose, and the outcome will be his. He ended the letter profusely apologizing to all of us. I saw my pastor soon after, venting everything, and he compared me to Job. This is ironic because out of all the biblical tales, I hated the book of Job. My pastor told me that everyone struggles like Job, some more than others, but it teaches us to comfort those who suffer and how we become better people through adversity. This morning I went to the hospital. The benefit of a small town is that everyone knows everyone's business. Without asking, the nurse escorted me to Jocelyn's ex's room, where I sat there waiting for him to wake up. He was shocked to see me. I had a conversation with him, and even though his jaw was wired shut,
He completely understood the man I will become if he ever crossed my family again. I forgot how easily it was to become someone so dark. And as of this moment, I am sitting in the cancer ward, just typing this long tirade on my phone, thinking about getting myself tested to see if I am a match. Wondering, why must we always be tested? Why must we constantly endure? Why must there be people who want to ruin everything? Edit. I got myself tested, and I found out the day before yesterday that I am a match. I'm only considering helping him. I will never forgive him, and I personally will hate him until my dying breath. Yet I cannot stop thinking about his pregnant fiancée who came from Puerto Rico and begged me to help him. I already spoke to my family about this issue. Luna and Marisol wanted him to suffer a painful death. However, they said it was my decision. Jocelyn told me she cannot comprehend what was going through my mind right now, but she will stand by whatever choice I will make.
Update. Hello everyone. I would like to thank you, even some of the haters and naysayers, especially the ones I met at the Idaho State Fair who were shocked we were real people. Right now, I'm sitting on the balcony by my hotel room. Spoke to my wife and kids a few hours ago. I miss them. 2 hours ago, I buried my cousin, and I was the only person at his funeral, and I was the only person who attended his wake. I tried to donate my marrow to him. When I told everyone what I was going to do, Luna was shocked. Jocelyn was proud of me for taking the high road, and Marisol understood. She told me despite all of the cruel things I have done in my youth, I was never a killer. I went through a series of blood work to make sure I could do it, and even flew to Puerto Rico back in November to personally tell him, and he looked so frail in that bed. He struggled to smile when he saw me, thought I was there to forgive him, and I told him I wasn't there for that, but I was there to help him. I told him I was a match and was there to donate. He laughed at me and shook his head. He refused. I told him that he needed to stop being a coward and be a father to that child his fiancée was having, and he told me that he was too far gone and that donation would not work. He's going to die, and he was okay with it. I spoke to his doctors, and they confirmed. My cousin then told me that his fiancée emptied his savings, cleaned out his house, and disappeared. He said that it was what he deserved, and I didn't disagree with him. We soon sat there awkwardly for a few hours in silence, watching TV. I didn't know why. I went back the following day just to do the same and repeated it for the rest of the week. No words, just the two of us watching TV. When I got back, I told Luna what happened, and she hugged me tightly, asking me if I was all right, and I nodded. Thanksgiving came and went. I went back in December for a week, doing the same thing, sitting in silence while watching TV. On Christmas, Roberto paid me what he owed on the trailer. I was shocked. He and Luna then told me that they were going to move to Yuma. I knew I was supposed to be happy for them, but I cried. I didn't want her to move away. I just got her back. And I know it was selfish on my behalf, but I wanted her just a little bit longer. And she cried as well, promising me that she would visit as much as she could, and I didn't want to let her go, but I understood in the end. On New Year's Eve, my brother-in-law proposed to Marisol, and she said yes. I thought they were moving too fast, but Marisol said she put her life on hold long enough and needed to be happy. And then she asked me if I could give her away. I agreed, and we all got shit-faced. A week and a half ago, I went back to Puerto Rico, visited my cousin, and sat down to watch TV. He looked at me and apologized for being a shit person. I looked at him and told him that he was lucky he was dying, otherwise I would pop him in the mouth. That made him laugh, and he said he wouldn't doubt it, and that comment made me laugh. He died the following day. We were watching TV, and he told me that he was going to take a nap and never woke up. No one else showed up at his wake. And as he was buried, I was the only one there. And as angry as I was at that little fucker, I couldn't stop crying as they lowered his casket into the ground. All I could think about was all the times I protected him, the time I taught him how to tie his shoes, helping him with his cursive, teaching him how to play handball, teaching him how to drive, taking him to his first R-rated movie. Every moment of happiness I had with this man flooded, and none of the fucked shit he did to me. Just all of these good memories came in, and I couldn't understand why. I just stood there, silently crying as they poured dirt over him. I'm in this hotel, and the burden I had in my chest for so long feels like it's gone, and I'm so confused. Therapy didn't help it. Anger management, meeting Jocelyn, getting my daughter back, every positive aspect that happened didn't remove that burden in my chest, but spending time with that man in his final moments took away that burden, took away that anger, and I do not know why or how.